am 35 and I have two young sons. One is 9 and one is 4.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised in Calgary. Moved up north for a couple of years, but just recently moved back about a year ago. And I work in the automotive industry. My husband and I separated in July of last year, so we've been separated just over a year. And I spent some time alone after that, kind of reflecting on everything that happened. We've been together for about 10 years. And I think during the separation, I really blamed him for everything that had happened, everything that went wrong. And what happened with some time alone is that I realized that he wasn't all to blame and that some of these issues were my own. Codependency is a profound addiction to other people. And when you grow up in a chaotic environment, you become a chaos manager. You are hyper-focused on people around you and managing their feelings. And I just carried that with me for the rest of my life. I think I was at a place in my life where I was feeling pretty desperate for answers and knew that this could be potentially something that would help. So going into it, I had done a few sessions, quite a while ago, maybe 15, 16 years ago, and found it to be helpful then. So now in this struggle, I found myself gravitating back towards that because I think when you go through crisis in your life, you doubt yourself. You doubt your intuition. And so what counseling provided for me was validation, that this was not in your head, that this is an issue, that this is something that you can change. I think everybody struggles. It's just not everybody talks about it. So I think that when you do talk about it and you are open about your struggles and going to counseling, that it's an invitation for other people to do the same. And so it felt good. I never felt judged or looked down upon because I was dealing with some mental health issues. Not being able to have functional, close relationships in your life impacts everything. It impacted my family life, my relationships with my children, my work relationships. It was weighing on me heavily that I seemed to be very easily influenced by the feelings of those around me, and it almost felt like when other people would express their feelings to me or express that they didn't like something that I did, I was so profoundly distraught by that I almost felt like I had no protection from it. And so my days were a roller coaster of managing everybody's feelings around me to protect myself, to sort of be your own entity and your own person in this world, and to, whenever somebody asks you a question, to be able to just answer without putting that through a filter of what you think they want to hear, takes work. It's not something that comes naturally to me even still. Being a mother of 2 small children, my self-care regimen was non-existent. And instead of taking responsibility for that and saying that I wasn't doing a good enough job of advocating for myself, I blamed it on my husband. And, well, you don't give me enough time for myself and you aren't supporting me in the ways that I need. But I was also really incapable of articulating what that support looked like. And if you want people to show up for you, you have to be able to tell them how. And I couldn't do that. So I had to accept responsibility that part of the reason people weren't showing up for me is because I wasn't leading by example. I wasn't showing up for me. So how does anybody else know? I think that when people are upset or agitated or we have bad experiences with them out in the world, we automatically internalize that and make it about us. But it's not about us. Some people are dealing with some huge, heavy, difficult things. And so remembering to be a kind, empathetic person when I'm out in the world that I think that's the most direct effect counseling has had in my life, because I think about that when I'm waiting for my appointment and I'm seeing all these people like me, and knowing that I'm going to go out in the world and run into these people, and we're not always going to have great days. So to show up for them, and to not judge people, and to just try and remember that everybody has their issues, and to kind of mind my own business has changed my life for sure. And through this, my husband, who I was who was separated from, was also tremendously supportive, because he was seeing the changes in my behavior. And through that, we have started to work on reconciling our marriage, which is, I never thought I'd be able to say that. And I always thought that I always thought the path back together for us was if he changed, but it wasn't. It was through my own change. It was through my own efforts and my own willingness to admit that he wasn't the only person to blame. So once that wall came down, he was able to support me in this journey as well, and we've been able to learn together. Who you are doesn't have to be who you're going to be, and it can change in a really short period of time. Even things that have plagued you for your whole entire life, things that you just thought were who you are. Maybe you think that you're insecure, maybe you think that you're introverted or shy or bossy or any of those things, and that might be true. But if it's something that's causing disruption in your life and with the life in between the relationships with your loved ones, maybe that's not just a personality trait. You know, maybe there's something else going on there, and it's worth looking into. You know, if you're a fish in water and you've always been swimming in water, you don't know that it's there. And sometimes you just need another set of eyes to point out things that you might not be aware of. And awareness is the whole thing. You might not be able to fix everything completely. I will probably always struggle with certain elements of codependency for my whole entire life. But the awareness is everything. So if somebody can help you gain that awareness so that you can go out into the world and see that for yourself now, you can see the water, that changes your life. So that extra set of eyes is everything.